Tonight we're going to put the spotlight on the life of an ordinary CRPF Jawan and the extraordinary hardship that he has to go through. Whether it's in Kashmir or in Chhattisgarh or in Manipur, he's the one who's willing to take a bullet for the nation. And yet, do we care enough for him? Are CRPF Jawans treated on par with their counterparts from the armed forces? Are hardship postings, for example, like the ones in Sukma, followed by peace postings, just like it is in the army? Do they have the same equipments to fight the Maoists, the terrorists, the stone pelter? Do they get the same remuneration and the same retirement benefits? Just look at the events of the recent past. You remember that young CRPF Jawan in Kashmir? The one who was heckled, he was stoned, and yet that young man never lost his restraint, he never lost his cool, he never took his weapon and turned it on those stone pelters. He was from the CRPF. So was Chetan Cheetha, you remember him, the CRPF commandant who took 9 bullets, eliminated 5 terrorists. He literally was in the jaws of death, only to come roaring back to life. He was from the CRPF. Or whether it's young Sher Mohammed, who was injured in Sukma and whose mother says she's so proud of her son for taking the lives of 5 Naxals in yesterday's ambush before he got injured. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, it is they who keep dying at the hands of the Maoist, at the hands of the stone pelter, at the hands of the tribal. Tonight we're asking, is the state, and this has nothing to do with the Congress or the BJP, is the Indian state doing everything it can to keep these men from harm's way? Are our CRPF Jawans merely cannon fodder for the Indian state? 25 died yesterday. 12 died 45 days ago. 75 died in 2010. And God forbid, we don't know how many more have to die. And isn't it a massive, colossal intelligence failure if 300 Maoists and their supporters, women amongst them by the way, were able to gather in one place and carry out this carnage? We'll be asking those questions to our guest panel. Rest assured, we'll be putting those questions to our panelists, which includes some of the finest minds who've talked about and dealt with this issue. We'll be putting those questions to Nitin Mahajan, who's assistant editor at the Asian Age. He spent a number of years reporting from Bastar, from Dantewada, and of course from Sukma. We'll be speaking to E.N. Ram Mohan, former DG BSF. Remember, the most comprehensive report on how to deal with the Naxal problem was prepared by that man, E.N. Ram Mohan. Where's that report? Is it gathering dust in some cupboard in North Block? We'll be speaking to Swami Agnivesh. Remember, he's the same social activist who was an emissary of sorts for the UPA government to try and broker peace with the Maoists. He failed. Can the BJP succeed where the UPA failed? Zafar Islam, we'll put that to him. We were given to understand that demonetization has broken the back of the Naxal. How wrong were we? Ajay Kumar of the Congress spokesperson, he'll be joining us tonight as well. And so will Noel Swaranjit Sen, the former DGP of Andhra Pradesh. Remember, Andhra Pradesh is one of the living, successful examples of how a state has thwarted the Naxal menace. So we'll be speaking to Swaranjit Sen. While we get to all of that and more, and remember on Face Off, you can vote for who is the best debater tonight, whose arguments you've been most convinced by. CRPF, frontline in the battle, back burner when it comes to benefits. You can vote for the best debater. Go to our Facebook page, go to our Twitter handle, it's the pinned tweet, or you can also go to our landing page, news18.com. Here are the other headlines that we're tracking this Tuesday night. Sadhvi Pragya is granted bail in the 2008 Malegaon blast case, but the Bombay High Court rejects bail for yet another of the prime accused, Colonel Shrikant Purohit. Alleged middleman in the cash for symbol bribery case, Sukesh Chandrasekhar tells CNN News 18 he doesn't even know TTV Dinakaran, claiming that he's been arrested for past crimes. This, even as the Delhi police question both Sukesh and Shashikala's nephew Dinakaran in this case. There's no more moderation of Class 12 marks by school boards, including the CBSE, which means no revising scores upwards and a possible drop in cut-offs for undergraduate university admissions. And will defending champions India skip the upcoming Champions Trophy? The BCCI rejects a $100 million compensatory offer from the ICC. The ICC has been pushing for a proposed new revenue distribution model that sharply slashes the BCCI's earnings. But up first, nearly 300 heavily armed Naxals, women among them, ambushed a CRPF party Monday afternoon as it provided security to road construction workers in Sukma. 25 CRPF Jawans, that's nearly a quarter of all the Jawans who were present there, were killed. Today, we had the almost regular, and may I say, to this point, sickening voicing of government anger and determination to bring the guilty to book. Intelligence lapses are glaring us in the face. Look at it from the point of view of the CRPF Jawan, who around the country, whether it's in Sukma, whether it's in Anantnag, whether it is in Manipur, has to be at the forefront to face the bullets, but is almost always ignored when it comes to support and welfare. Their real concerns hardly even get a hearing. This is the story of the day, and then we'll be putting those questions to our guest panel. How often have we seen these images before? Our soldiers martyred, heroes who fell to enemy bullets. Here, that enemy is homegrown. Maoists who've struck in the same red corridor multiple times.
मैं मानता हूं कि वामपंथी उग्रवादियों के द्वारा किया गया यह कोल्ड ब्लडेड मर्डर है.
Ground Zero, Sukma, Chhattisgarh. The ambush spot. Voices of the Jawans who survived that shocking massacre on Monday afternoon underscore their commitment and heroism.
जब हम ठीक हो जाएंगे तो हमें दोबारा चांस मिलेगा तो हम उन्होंने हमारे 25 का बलिदान लिया, हम उनके 50 का बलिदान लिया.
Even as a dark reality stares you in the face. Monday's Naxal ambush is the fifth of its kind in recent months, the second in the last 30 days, and the worst in 7 years. So far in 2017 alone, the toll of dead security forces fighting Naxals has gone up to 72. So just where are they getting it so wrong?
सीआरपी का अपना इंटेलिजेंस होना चाहिए जिससे कि हम लोग को कुछ से सूचना मिल सके. इस तरह का कोई अपना इंटेलिजेंस नहीं है. पुलिस वाले के ऊपर, इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर हम लोग कार्रवाई करते हैं, उसमें हम लोग को पूरा सूचना नहीं मिल पाता है.
One war, a common enemy. Yet here too, politics allows the villain to get away.
रमन सिंह जी और उनके भाजपा के लोग वहाँ से उन क्षेत्रों में चुनाव जीत के आते हैं तो उनके साथ समझौता होता है, लेन देन होता है. मैं खुलेआम इस बात को कह चुका हूँ, आज फिर दोहरा रहा हूँ.
Security experts stress the need for a coordinated approach against the Naxal menace. Is it time for a complete overhaul of the CRPF's functioning? That's our focus tonight on Face Off at 9. All right, 25 have died yesterday. How many more, God forbid, do we have to lose before we can find a comprehensive anti-Maoist, anti-Naxal plan to put an end to this once and for all? Here in our studios, Nitin Mahajan is assistant editor with the Asian Age. He spent a number of years reporting from Bastar, from Dantewada and from Sukma, and he knows a thing or two about what exactly is going wrong. Ian Ram Mohan, his former DG BSF, spent a number of his best years in counterinsurgency operations across that red corridor. He's written the most comprehensive report that's ever been drafted on how to deal with this Naxal problem. This was in the aftermath of yet another tragedy that happened in 2010 when 75 of our men died in a Naxal ambush. We'll be also going across to Swami Agnivesh, who was deputed as an emissary of sorts by the previous UPA government to find peace with the Naxals. He failed, and in the process we failed our Jawans as well, and Zafar Islam of the BJP and Dr. Ajay Kumar of the Congress. I'll start with you, Zafar Islam. Before I start with you, the rules of the debate are very clear. Each panelist has 45 seconds to make his or her opening comments. No fellow panelist will interrupt you, hopefully, during the course of your opening comments. After which, after all our panelists have made their opening comments, then it's an open debate. If you want to rebut or interject someone, please raise your hand, and then I'll give you 30 seconds to make your interjection or your rebuttal, and please identify whose point you are rebutting. Let me start with you, Zafar Islam. 25 lost yesterday. We were given to understand by the Home Minister, the Prime Minister, the BJP top brass, that demonetization has broken the back of Naxals. How wrong were we, Zafar Islam? Your opening comments.
Zakka, first of all, I would like to convey our condolences on behalf of my party, our leadership and our government to the family of martyred. It's a sad moment for all of us, and today in this debate I don't want to play politics, but I actually would like to talk heart to heart, so that the families of those martyred must feel at least that the government of the day is with them, solidly backing them, and we will definitely ensure that their concern also gets addressed. Let me tell you about the demonetization. That demonetization has indeed worked the way we wanted it to work. However, that any decision you take, that do not last forever.
All right.
And all the corrective measures you have to keep taking time and again.
Okay, let me go across to Ajay Kumar. I mean, this is not a day that any party should be playing politics, Dr. Ajay Kumar, but your senior leader, Mr. Digvijay Singh, coming out and saying the reason this problem has gone on for so long is because Raman Singh is in bed with the Naxals. Couldn't it have waited, sir, at least till till these martyrs are laid to rest, till their cremations are over? I mean, what is such a tearing hurry for the Congress party and for Digvijay Singh to rush into politics, sir, on such a day, even as the country is coming to terms with this grief? Ajay Kumar, your 45 seconds begin now.
Zakka, you know, whenever you use the don't use politics, the fundamental issue is, if you speak against the ineptness of this government, you're correct. Demonetization, Manohar Parrikar said terrorism is gone. The Prime Minister said that the Naxals are hiding there for 1,500 crores. There were leaked reports, 1,500 crores have been extinguished. The fact is that the integrated action plan, the backwards region plan, all those have been slashed. The fact is that there has been continuous increase in the surrender of Naxalites and the killing of policemen. So the whole issue is, if this government, and by the way, politicization, 25th May 2013, Prime Minister, then Chief Minister, said that zero tolerance. So politicization, whenever the BJP does, it is in national interest.
Okay.
When somebody raises issues of total ineptness of the part of the present government.
Your opening comments are done. Let me get Ian Ram Mohan now in. Mr. Ram Mohan, you compiled a report back in 2010 when we lost 75 of our men. I don't know what's happened to that report. It certainly has not been made public. Is it gathering dust in some cupboard in North Block? And what would your advice to this government be, sir? How many more men do we have to lose before we realize that we need to do something about this problem? Your opening comments, sir.
Yeah, I don't have too much time to tell you, but I am very clear about one issue. In every insurgency, you ask a question, why have civilians taken to the gun? That is because the government has failed very seriously in administration, and this particular failure in this tribal area is the total neglect of the 5th schedule of the Constitution. The 5th schedule of the Constitution of India says that in the scheduled areas of the state, which are the reserved forests of the state, it is the governor who will administer it by appointing a tribal panchayat.
Okay.
It is called a Tribes Advisory Council, but that is a tribal panchayat.
All right.
It is this panchayat who will report directly to him.
Okay, we'll
elaborate. Not touched this at all.
We'll elaborate on that as we open up our debate. We've got two more guests to make opening comments. Noel Swaranjit Sen, when you were DGP of Andhra Pradesh, you had the same problem. In fact, in the then undivided state of Andhra Pradesh, Naxalism was just as much a problem as it is in Chhattisgarh today, and yet you were successfully, at least to a great extent, able to eliminate it or at least push it out of the state. How did you do it? Your opening comments, sir.
Well, I'll address the point that you have mentioned, but before that, I would like to say that it is an utter failure of the administration, the political system, and I think to an extent the police. I would like to say that right in the beginning.
Okay.
And I'm terribly disappointed how this problem is being dealt with by successive governments. That is what I would like to say. Now, in our case, there were various methods which were used, and especially on the psychological and the human aspects. of the problem. That is what we addressed. And just by the way, I would like to mention that we were called by the Chhattisgarh government to give them a briefing on how they should deal with it. And I was appalled by the response of the Chief Minister, who continues to be in chair for 13 years, and the problem has not improved one bit.
Okay, I'll come back to you in just a moment.
Like to say at the beginning.
Okay, I'll come back to Noel Swaranjit Sen and ask him what is it that he got in response from the Chhattisgarh government. But Nitin, you spent a good number of years reporting in these areas. What is it that you take away in terms of why we're not able to get a handle on this problem? Your opening comments.
First of all, we need to acknowledge that this is a war zone.
Okay.
And two of our main fighting forces, that the CRPF and the local state police,
which is the Chhattisgarh police,
they are not coordinating with each other. There is no intelligence sharing, and in this recent incident, yesterday's incident, there was a company of local policemen should always be accompanying the CRPF, so because they don't have the local trains knowledge, they don't have the local intelligence, they should be accompanying them, but this is not being done. There is an utter failure. There is no unified command.
You believe the time has come for a unified command?
It has to be there.
Okay. Okay. Well, and our last guest, Swami Agnivesh, is joining us on the phone as we try to patch through his line. Swami Agnivesh, you were an emissary of sorts by the UPA government. You were asked to broker peace with the Naxals. Where and why did you fail, sir? Your opening comments.
First and foremost, let me tell you, from the day one, I am of the opinion this is not a law and order problem. This is a socio-economic problem, and it pertains to the implementation of our Constitution and PPSI Act of 1996, Forest Rights Act 2006, all those laws relating to our Adivasis, the Scheduled Areas Act, that has not been implemented. Now, you cannot wean away Adivasis from the Naxals as long as you do not win their confidence, and unless you are able to isolate Naxalites, Maoists, you cannot deal with them by force.
But
so it will be counterproductive to keep on using force.
Okay, yeah. your opening comments. Now it's an open debate. Anybody is willing to, anybody is open and free to jump in. Ian Ramon, I mean, the point is, these Naxals are, like Swami Agnivesh says, you know, you can't separate the tribals from the Naxals. I think that's a failure of the Indian state. But more importantly, these Naxals are using the same tribal people as pawns, as human shields, as they did yesterday in Sukma.
Do you want an answer for this?
I'm asking, yeah, I hope there is an answer for it.
Exactly, that's right, yes, I'll give you the answer. Why are you not implementing the 5th schedule of the Constitution? It says that the governor is the person who will administer the scheduled areas of the state by appointing a tribes advisory council from the tribes living in that scheduled area. What is a tribes advisory council? It is a panchayat. Please find out if any panchayat has been formed of the tribals anywhere in this area.
No, why?
That is your answer.
No, while I agree that again is a failure of the state, but what about the fact that these Naxals are using these tribals as human shields, sir?
Naturally, you have not given the rights to the tribals to administer their area themselves. What is the meaning of this? When the Constitution 5th schedule says that it should be administered by a panchayat of tribals, the area of the tribals.
Okay. Noel Swaranjit Sen,
who is administering it? It is the state government who is administering it.
Noel Swaranjit Sen, did you have to do this in Andhra Pradesh to eliminate the Maoist menace from the state of Andhra Pradesh? Noel Swaranjit Sen, you want to respond to Ian Ramon?
Look, what Mr. Ramon is saying is absolutely right. That will ultimately have to be done if you want to deal with this problem and solve the problem. But we use other methods. You know, now this is the recruiting area, the very area where this operation has taken place. What did we do? You know what we did? In the hotbed of the Naxal areas, we created a tribal battalion. We had to relax certain rules, but we did that. And we had cases where the tribals came and said, look, we are getting a job here. If we get that job, we will not join you. We also raised a tribal home guard system.
Okay.
Where a whole lot of home guards, tribals who did not have earning capacity came to us.
Okay, Nitin.
Apart from that, we had so many other methods.
Okay.
I can't go on relating at this short notice.
Fair enough. But Nitin wants to make an interjection. 30 seconds, Nitin, for your interjection.
Mr. Sen, the Chhattisgarh government has also done the same. They have tried to establish a tribal battalion. They even tried they established a tribal battalion, but they were unable to.
What was it? There was even a Salva Judum force which they tried.
Salva Judum, I'm sorry to say, was a misconception. It does not work like that. But politically, yes, it served the purpose. Now, how is it that the tribal battalion worked in our case and not in your case? How is it that the home guards worked in our case and not in your case? What is wrong?
Why?
Have you tried to analyze that?
What is the difference, sir? You tell us. What was the difference?
Well, we were absolutely open to them, and whatever we did was in the areas themselves, you know.
Okay.
And we gave some respect to them.
Okay.
The tribals are very particular to be respected, to be treated in a certain way. If you don't treat them in that way, they are not going to come close to you.
Zafar, you know, for a government that you know says that we care about the security forces, we give our first respect to security forces. In 2017 alone, more than 40 security personnel have died because of Maoist violence. I'm given to understand that this in the first 4 months of 2017 is higher than the average of 2016 and 2015. What would it take for your government to wake up and come up with a comprehensive plan to put an end to this problem, sir?
Zakka, when we assumed the government in 2014, that time we adopted a policy. And the policy was that we will use armed forces, to deal with the Naxals, because there were 230 districts which was badly affected with Naxal affected districts. There are 230 districts. And we also had to ensure that because of this Adivasi population and the tribals have been always neglected from the developmental activities, and they remain isolated from the development activities. So we must ensure that we do some developmental activities, and that is also we initiated in those affected areas. The result is very apparent for all of us to see that out of these 230 districts in 2014, today we have 107 districts only which is affected, and out of this 107 districts, there are only few districts like Sukna who are badly affected.
But look at the number of casualties. So look at the number of security personnel who've died. Nitin wants to make an interjection again, and then I'll go to Ajay Kumar for his interjection. Your interjection.
Let me just complete.
No, let him respond to you.
Why are all the casualties always happening in Chhattisgarh?
Yeah, why are the casualties happening always in Chhattisgarh? I think that's a great question.
Why not anywhere else?
Why is it not happening in Telangana? Why is it not happening in Maharashtra? Why is it not happening in Bengal, in Odisha? Why is it only happening in Chhattisgarh? Tell me, Zafar Islam.
You have a government there for the past 13 years.
I think, Zakka, I think this needs to be definitely investigated. And as the Honorable Home Minister said, that this entire incident will be reviewed, the policy will be reviewed, and whatever corrective measures needs to be taken will be definitely taken. And 8th of May, we will also come out with the policy framework to deal with the Naxal problem.
But let me tell you. No, but let Nitin answer that question. Why? I mean, there's a BJP government in Chhattisgarh for the last, I think, what, 13 years now?
13 years. And you have a central
government for the last 3 years. Why can't
you establish a unified command now? headed by a DGP or someone with in a uniform.
Okay.
Not a politician. Right now there's a unified command, but it is headed by the Chhattisgarh CM.
Okay.
Do you think really he is
I think
adept in strategy against nixels?
I think, Nitin, you have a valid question, but if you see the measures the Chhattisgarh government has taken so far, and the support which has been extended by the central government, and the policy which has been adopted by the central government has definitely yielded positive result for us. However, these incident like this, which has happened yesterday, definitely makes us sad, and also push us to take a review measures, which is important for the nation to take some corrective measures. And I'm sure we will take those corrective measures.
Let me go across to Dr. Ajay Kumar. One second. Dr. Ajay Kumar, less as a Congress spokesperson and more as a former police officer and IPS officer who dealt with this problem in your home state of Jharkhand. I mean, this is not a Congress or BJP problem. Both governments, even the UPA, was equally inept when dealing with this problem, just as much as the BJP. Why can't, I mean, if we can defeat insurgency in Punjab, if we can break the back of insurgency in Nagaland, why can't we do this with Maoist insurgency? I mean, back in 2006, Manmohan Singh, who was Prime Minister then, said this is the single biggest threat to India. We are here in 2017, 11 years later, dealing with this same damn threat.
So, Zakka, a couple of minutes and I'll what Mr. Swaranjit said and Mr. Ramon said was absolutely spot on. The first question is whether the tribal rights have been adequately given back to the tribal people. No. In fact, one of the biggest threat, and Zafar should take not as a criticism, the dilution of the tribal forest act, the dilution of the tribal rights have been extremely serious in the past 3 years. In my home state of Jharkhand, the CNT, the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act and the Santal Pargana Tenancy Act has been again, so badly diluted that the tribals are up in arms. Similar thing has happened, the dilution to, to give benefits to different kind of business interests. Salva Judum is one of the dumbest answer. Salva Judum is the dumbest answer to fight Naxal. Like the typical BJP response of creating vigilantes, should never happen. The third part is the government continuously diluted the integrated action plan. They got rid of it. The backward region grant fund was slashed by 70%. So the issue is you are actually not doing development work in the tribal areas. You're diluting the tribal rights. And by the way, the tribals are not the human shields. The leadership is also with the tribals and the locals. So this myth, let's not create that the leadership has come from, sometimes it comes from Andhra. But the locals are involved. And last and most important, continuous human right violation. There has been rapes of tribal women by security forces, and I'm saying security forces do a great job. But 1% or 0.1% who do bad, between the ages of 6 to 40 tribal women in the village of Pennaguda and Chinnaguda were raped.
Fair enough. No, I take your point. One sec. Ajay Kumar, Dr. Ajay Kumar, I take your point. Your point is very well taken. Since you brought in human rights violations, Swami Agnivesh, I'd like to see the same condemnation, the same vehemence of the gross violation of human rights of these 25 Jawans who died. Don't they have families? Don't they have wives and kids and fathers and mothers who are grieving today? Isn't their human rights just as important as the human rights of the tribals? How come I don't hear the likes of you as vehemently talk about the human rights of soldiers as you talk about the human rights of tribals?
Immediately after I heard the news, I went on tweet and I tweeted that I condemn this dastardly killing of our 25 Jawans. I also demanded 1 crore rupees worth of ex gratia for each of the Jawans' families. I also demanded that these Jawans should be treated at par with those Jawans who are laying down their life at the border of this country.
Yep.
That means they should be treated as real martyrs, and their body should be wrapped in tricolor, and the minister should be present when the funeral rites are taking place. Now I still want to pay my homage to these Jawans who laid down their lives, but how long they will continue to be treated like cannon fodder? That is the basic question. When are we going to pay the real tribute by solving this problem? This ongoing problem is there just because most of your panelists have said, the constitution is being trampled upon. The laws related for the welfare of the tribals and their autonomy is being denied to them. That is at the root cause of all of these problems.
No, no.
As long as we do not entrust
hang on. No.
their
One second.
development plan.
No, nobody is contending that. Nobody is disputing that. Nobody is saying the tribals should not be given their full and due rights. The point is, it can't be done from the barrel point of a gun. That is my limited point. Nitin Mahajan wants to come in. I mean, you cannot take arms and ammunition and weapons and then say, give us tribal rights. I mean, what does that say of democracy, Nitin?
Yeah, most of our security forces are already operating without adequate arms and ammunition. They need to have dirt bikes there because there is no roads. Then they need 4x4s. There are no jeeps, there are no vehicles.
They need anti-mine vehicles.
There were two. One was blown off by them, and the other one is now roaming around in Jagdalpur and taking along all the VIPs.
It's barely a few years ago that they actually got bulletproof vests to start with.
They don't have adequate bulletproof vests.
Again, I am all for tribal rights and the rights of marginalized people, Dr. Ajay Kumar. But what about? I mean, you've been a former cop, sir. You've been a former policeman. Shouldn't this be just as much a priority?
So Zakka, you're absolutely spot on. No, you're spot on. I mean, in fact, the Maoists have to be hunted down to the last man, and given feel the full wrath of the law. But where is the technology? You have a BEAM app. You have so many Digital India, Make in India, Shake in India. Can't you use drones? Can't you use technology? Can't you use surveillance methods? All this, talk on the TV shows is fine. Is drone technology so difficult in Naxal areas to do surveillance?
No, but UAVs. No, one second. UAVs were talked about even when the UPA was in power, and both Ian Ram Mohan and Noel Swaranjit Sen can enlighten us on this. Ian Ram Mohan.
They are in government now, Zakka.
What happened to this plan of using UAVs, sir? Mr. Ram Mohan.
Has worked very well so far, Mr. Dr.
I'm
Ajay
not aware
Kumar.
of this use of UAVs.
No,
I'm not aware of even UAVs in Naxal area.
No. There was a proposal to use UAVs. It got shot down, right, Nitin?
Yeah. It got shot down.
No. I had not heard anything about the operation.
There is a limited operation by Indian Air Force.
There's a limited operation by Indian Air Force, but eventually no one wants to use an unmanned aerial vehicle in these forests. Nobody wants.
They are not trained.
They're not ready.
They are not trained.
They're not
trained.
The
answer to this problem is not by sending UAVs in the air.
So
the answer to this problem is to improve the condition of the tribals on the ground.
Like I said 2 minutes ago, I welcome those. Welcome your comments. I welcome the fact that you say full tribal rights and due tribal rights need to be given, but it cannot be done from the barrel of a gun. You cannot kill 25 CRPF Jawans, sir, and then expect the state to come and talk peace with you, right?
Zakka.
At some point, I mean, the minimum basic here,
Zakka.
the basic ground rule should be to lay down weapons and then we'll talk, right? Isn't for any negotiation to succeed, Zafar Islam, one second, for any negotiation to succeed, the basic has to be that weapons have to be put down. Zafar to respond.
Zakka, all I was saying that our approach was very holistic from day one when we assumed the government. We have to deal with this problem, and we had a two-pronged strategy. One, as I said, that armed operation was initiated against those Naxals who were actually harming our civilians as well as the armed forces. And secondly, to rehabilitate, to initiate the developmental activities, and also pursue these armed men to surrender. And see the number of people who have
Zafar, I mean, on the day after, one second, please, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but on the day after 25 of our Jawans have been killed, please don't say we have a successful holistic policy. These are quotes just on demonetization impacting Naxals that have been made by the Home Minister and the Prime Minister. I'm going to read this out. This is the Prime Minister on the 8th of February this year in the Rajya Sabha. In the last 30 to 40 days after demonetization, over 700 Maoists have surrendered in the country. The process is on. On the 31st of December 2016, in his address to the nation, this is what the Prime Minister said. Terror, Naxalism, etc. rely on black money. This one decision, that is demonetization, has attacked them. Many youth are shunning violence. On the 9th of January this year, Home Minister Rajnath Singh says this demo decision has affected Maoist, insurgent forces and other terrorist forces. Maoist activity has fallen by 55 to 60%. On the 3rd of January, Home Minister Rajnath Singh says it's correct that Naxals have weakened post-demonetization. The intelligence information received by us shows their problems have increased, their strength has reduced. I mean, for God's sake, this demonetization can't be our answer to dealing with the Naxal problem. At least now can we put an end to this and say we need to have a comprehensive national policy to take on this problem, for God's sake.
Zakka, demonetization was one of the initiatives, and this definitely has given us a positive outcome as planned by the Honorable Prime Minister. But
40 Jawans have died from January to now. 40 Jawans have died from January to now. Nitin wants to come in. Nitin.
Zakka, why has the government been...
Okay, finish your...
Zakka.
Okay, Nitin first.
Let me just 30 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds, finish your point.
Saying,
yeah.
All I'm saying that all your policy can work, but there could be some flaw, and that once you review those policies, you may come with the corrective measures, and that is something which the government of today is going to do.
Nitin first, and then Dr. Ajay Kumar. Nitin.
Your government repeatedly has said that it is for development in that area, but you are flying all these injured security men to Raipur, or maybe sometimes to Delhi. Why don't you build a proper hospital there in Jagdalpur, or maybe in Sukma? Why don't you build?
They've been trying to build a road for a number of years now.
Why don't you get a hospital there in Jagdalpur? It will be 150 kilometers from there.
Nitin,
why do you move? Why do you move security forces 400 kilometers
away?
Let
me ask you. Let me ask you. You said that you have spent so many years in those areas, affected areas. Do you know how the ground realities are there? How all these tribals have planted landmines all over.
It is for the government to...
And that's why it is very... No, that's why, or even the developmental activities, if you see that we can build road 18 kilometers to 24 kilometers a day, any other places which is not affected areas. But here even 2 kilometers becomes a very challenging task. So you also have to give it other perspective, also the ground realities. By only saying
that is why I am saying that it is a war zone. You need to tackle it that way.
As an expert, as a journalist who has experienced those situations, you must also give the other color also. Not only keep criticizing the government.
Ajay Kumar wants to come in.
Look, Zakka, the issue is if Mr. Zafar Islam and the BJP had the grace to say that they've been in government for 13 years. Can I complete, Mr. Zafar Islam? I didn't interrupt you, sir. Just have the grace to give me a chance. I won't interrupt you, I promise. First question is, have the grace to accept that for the...
Okay, Ajay Kumar.
So I'll explain that again. I have not misled it. I can challenge you in any... Yeah, so the question again is I have not misled. The fact is that the CNT SPT Act has been changed, and Zakka, you can verify it, and then Mr. Zafar Islam can publicly apologize to me later in the show. The other issue is that you're correct, you need to use both strong police tactics, but the state police has to be in front, and you also have to use the developmental tactics and the tribal right tactics. But the issue again is, like Nitin and everybody has been saying, for 13 years, if you don't have a hospital in Jagdalpur, when the only people you target is Santosh Yadav, who is a journalist, when you chase Bela Bhatia out of it, when you use all the police institutions, there, I'll tell you, 99% of the policemen are struggling and fighting a brave war. But one person, like the Inspector General of Police called Mr. Kalluri, who continues to flout rules, and you have alienated the tribals. That's a fact. The fact is that the tribals have lost trust because the land is not secure, the human rights violations are not addressed, and the state continues to oppress them. Now, who is responsible? 13 years in government, they can't keep telling UPA 7 साल आपने राज किया. अरे कम से कम इतना तो शर्म करो, 13 साल में आपने कुछ नहीं किया.
Zafar?
Dr. Ajay Kumar, you have been ex-policeman, and you are speaking today as a spokesperson. You are misleading, even though you shouldn't have done it. You spoke about the CNT in Jharkhand. The entire changes have been carried out purely to safeguard the interests of the tribals. While you are misleading that the tribals have been alienated because of this changes which have been carried out, which is
that is why
completely
the governor
wrong.
and the president
Secondly,
have not signed. Zakka, one sec. Zafar, just a correction. The president and the governor have not signed on it.
Secondly,
I am just correcting you that the president and governor has not signed.
Your
own governor has not signed. Why do you think she's a tribal? I am just correcting you, sir. She's a tribal and she's not signed it. Why do you think that has happened? Your governor, Madam Murmu has not signed it, and the president has not given approval. There must be a reason.
Concern of the tribals,
she has not signed,
by changing
and she's
whatever
a tribal.
changes
So
have been
please get your
carried
facts,
out, is only to safeguard and address the concern of the tribals, and that's why those changes have been carried out. So don't say that this has been done to alienate the tribals, which is a very poor.
Okay, one second. Let me. One second. Let me. One second, Ajay Kumar. Zafar Islam. Let me just play out some of these young soldiers who were injured yesterday. They've lost their brother soldiers, 25 of them. Shreya Dondial spoke to some of these injured Jawans, and you have to really, tip your hat to these men. They've lost their brothers. They are themselves in physical pain, so much physical pain, and yet you should listen to what the soldier has to say. Listen in, and I'll come back to both Noel Swaranjit Sen as well as Mr. Ramon.
आपने अपने 25 साथी खोए हैं। आज उनकी रीथ लेइंग सेरेमनी में मैं थी। ये बलिदान व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा।
ये बलिदान देश के लिए गया, ये कभी व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा। वो अमर हैं, अमर थे और अमर रहेंगे। ये देश के लिए कुर्बानी है, और उनकी जगह हम भी होते तो हम भी देते। और जब हम ठीक हो जाएंगे तो हमें दोबारा चांस मिलेगा, तो उन्होंने हमारे 25 का बलिदान लिया, हम उनके 50 का बलिदान लिया।
डेली का ड्यूटी जाते हैं हम, रोज रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन टीम जाते हैं। उसके साथ तो सिविल पुलिस भी होना चाहिए था, लेकिन सिविल पुलिस तो नहीं है। हम रोज ड्यूटी जाते हैं।
तो सिविल पुलिस उस समय आपके साथ नहीं थी, जो होना चाहिए?
होना चाहिए तो नहीं है, क्योंकि रोड सबका बनता है, उनका भी होना चाहिए।
तो ये सिविल पुलिस को आप लोगों ने बुलाया था?
नहीं, वो तो हम नहीं बुलाए, लेकिन हमारे साथ तो नहीं थे। वो पहले रहता था, उसके बाद तो उधर से चला गया था। अभी तो उधर हमारे कैंप में नहीं रहता है। पहले सिविल पुलिस रहता था, उसको बाद उसको हटा दिया है। खाली अभी सीआरपी ड्यूटी दे रहा है उधर।
Swaranjit said, there's a Jawan telling you what exactly the problem is. The civil police should be leading from the front. There's no civil police cooperation at all. It's the CRPF who are not locals, who don't know the language, who don't know the terrain. They are simply, blindsided by what's happening, Noel Swaranjit Sen. And you have a 25, 26-year-old Jawan who has identified that problem. Swaranjit Sen, can you hear me? No, I don't think he can hear me. Let me put that to Mr. Ramon. Mr. Ramon, I hope you heard what the Jawan had to say. Two of them, what they said. One, the civil police should be taking the lead, not us. We're not locals here, number one. And number two, what Mahindra Kumar, the Jawan, said. उन्होंने हमारा 25 लिया है, हम उनका 50 लेंगे. How do you empower that young man? Not in a sense of revenge. I don't want to make this into a sense of revenge, but how do you empower that young man in a way that he doesn't have to lose another 25 of his brothers before the governments of the day wake up? Mr. Ramon, can you? Oh dear. I think we've lost both those links. Nitin, you want to take that as somebody who spent time there? What you have said and what you've distilled in your years of reporting experience is what a 25, 26-year-old Jawan. This is a problem so apparent that the government should have fixed this a long time ago.
Yeah, the problem is that the CRPF battalions are moved from other parts of the country, and they are just put in there. They don't have any local experience. they don't have any local intelligence because the local police is not helping them.
Why?
Exactly.
Why would that not be the case?
That needs to be addressed at their leadership levels.
And is this just
there is a problem between the leadership of both?
Is this just in Chhattisgarh or this is across states?
I think across states, because in Orissa also there was a incident.
Same problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
There has to be a unified command.
Okay, we'll leave it at that with this closing comment. Like I said, I mean, if our soldiers are getting lost to institutional flaws, if two institutions, whether it's the local police and the reserve police force, as institutions can't talk to each other, and if Jawans have to die because of that, then we seriously need to ask some tough questions of the government, both at the center as well as at the state level, and certainly ask questions of our security apparatus. Why would you leave young men to die like this, blindsiding them, people who are not locals, who don't know the local language or the culture or the ways of that, or even the terrain of that area? Why would you blindside them in such a fashion? As we wrap up Face Off at 9, and my thanks to all our panelists, we leave you with the results of our debate. This, of course, are the results as has been chosen by you, the viewers, in our Twitter poll. These are your this is your decision, as I like to put it. I'm going to take a break on this full-frame graphic, and when we come back, we'll shift focus to what else has been making the headlines. We're back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back. There's a big development in the 2008 Malegaon blast case. The Bombay High Court has granted conditional bail to accused Sadhvi Pragya, but has rejected the bail plea of another prime accused, Lieutenant Colonel Shrikant Purohit. Last year, the NIA had dropped all charges against the Sadhvi and recommended her discharge. The two have been in jail for 8 years now. 7 people were killed in the blast in Malegaon. And in case you want to check out more on that story, you can go to our website. It's news18.com. That's it from me and the Face Off team. We'll see you again tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on the other side. Bhupendra Chaubey with The Viewpoint. Good night.
मैं मानता हूं कि वामपंथी उग्रवादियों के द्वारा किया गया यह कोल्ड ब्लडेड मर्डर है.
Home Minister doing the tough talk. From Kashmir to Chhattisgarh, 263 security personnel killed since 2014. Government admits to failure in Kashmir.
कहीं ना कहीं चूक होता है तो इस प्रकार की घटनाएं हो जाती है जो बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है.
What about Chhattisgarh? After 14 years in power, has Raman Singh failed to tackle the Naxal menace? On Viewpoint tonight at 10.